In the winter of 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out on an expedition through the northern Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union. They were young, fit, and well-trained. Most were students or recent graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. Several had military or engineering backgrounds. This was not a casual trip. It was a carefully planned ski trek meant to earn the highest certification available to Soviet hikers. Their destination was Mount Otorten. Their route would take them through a remote, frozen region inhabited by almost no one. Temperatures routinely dropped below -30 degrees Celsius. Visibility was unpredictable, but the group was confident. They had completed similar expeditions before. The group leader was 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. They departed in late January. One member turned back early due to illness, leaving 9 to continue onward. That decision would save his life. On February 1st, the group established their final campsite on the eastern slope of Kolatsyakl, a mountain whose name roughly translates to Dead Mountain. They pitched their tent on an exposed incline instead of descending into the forest below, likely to practice alpine camping techniques. That night, something happened. The group never made another radio transmission. They never reached their destination. When they failed to return as scheduled, a search operation was launched. At first, officials assumed delays due to weather. But as days passed, concern grew. On February 26th, search teams located the campsite. The scene made no sense. The tent was partially collapsed and cut open from the inside. Not torn, not damaged by wind, slashed with a blade. Footprints led away from the tent, barefoot or in socks, down the slope toward the forest. No signs of a struggle. No signs of external attack. The footprints were calm, not chaotic. They led into the darkness. The first bodies were found near the tree line. 2 hikers lay beneath a cedar tree, dressed only in underwear, their skin discolored by extreme cold. Above them, branches were broken as if someone had climbed the tree, possibly to look back toward the campsite or to escape something. Between the tree and the tent, 3 more bodies were discovered, spaced as though they had been trying to return uphill. They were dressed slightly better, but still inadequately for the conditions. Their postures suggested collapse rather than injury. At first glance, the cause of death appeared straightforward: hypothermia. But as the investigation continued, details began to fracture that explanation. Months later, after the snow began to melt, the remaining 4 hikers were found in a ravine deeper in the forest. They were better dressed, wearing clothing taken from the others. But their injuries were severe. One had a crushed skull. Another had massive chest trauma. One woman was missing her tongue, eyes, and parts of her lips. Yet their skin showed no external wounds consistent with a physical assault. The medical examiner compared the force required to cause such injuries to that of a car crash. There were no signs of a fight, no evidence of other people, no footprints beyond those of the hikers themselves. Even more disturbing, some clothing tested positive for radiation. The official Soviet investigation concluded with a vague statement. The hikers died due to a compelling natural force. The case was closed. Files were sealed. For decades, the Dyatlov Pass Incident became legend. Avalanche theory was proposed, but the slope angle was shallow, and the tent remained partially standing. No avalanche debris was found. And avalanches do not explain internal injuries without surface trauma. A military weapons test was suggested. Parachute mines were known to explode mid-air, producing concussive force without shrapnel. Some witnesses in nearby villages reported seeing glowing orange orbs in the sky around that time. But no official records confirmed military activity in the area. Others pointed to infrasound, low-frequency wind-generated vibrations that can cause panic, nausea, and irrational behavior. In theory, this could have triggered sudden terror, causing the group to flee their tent. But infrasound does not crush ribs or remove tongues. Animal attacks were ruled out. No bite marks. No claw wounds. Interpersonal violence was unlikely. The group showed no signs of conflict prior to the incident. Diaries recovered from the campsite were calm, even playful, up until the final day. One explanation suggests a cascading sequence. A sudden loud noise, panic, flight into the cold, hypothermia weakening judgment, desperate survival attempts, fatal injuries from falls into the ravine. But this still fails to explain the precision of the injuries, the radiation, and the controlled nature of the footprints. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case. After renewed analysis, they officially concluded that a delayed slab avalanche caused the hikers to flee the tent, leading to hypothermia and fatal injuries. Critics immediately challenged the conclusion. The avalanche theory answered some questions, but not all. Why cut the tent instead of using the entrance? Why walk calmly? Why no avalanche debris? Why radiation? The truth is uncomfortable. The Dyatlov Pass Incident exists in a space where no explanation fully satisfies all evidence. Each theory solves part of the puzzle, while leaving others untouched. The hikers did not behave irrationally at first. They did not die quickly. They did not all die the same way. Something caused experienced mountaineers to abandon safety and walk into lethal cold without hesitation. Whether that something was environmental, psychological, military, or still unknown remains unresolved. The Soviet Union buried the case under bureaucracy and silence. Families were given little information. Survivors were left with questions that never received answers. Today, the Dyatlov Pass remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries of the 20th century, not because of what we know, but because of what we cannot explain. 9 people entered the mountains together. None of them came back.